In this bulletin, we count down the top imaging consumables stories for 2013.
From across the planet, Recycling Times keeps you in touch with the latest computer printing news.
Hello, I'm David Gibbons, and joining me for this special 100th episode is my producer, Virginia Ruan.
Thanks, David. Yes, this is our 100th episode, meaning we have been on air every week now for 2 years.
And this week, we look at the stories that most impacted the printing consumables industry during 2013.
Let's start with story number 7 and count down to number 1. 2013 was the year we saw the most unusual and interesting printers.
University engineering student Mugi Yamamoto designed the compact stack printer, which just sits on a pile of paper and swallows the pages beneath, forming a new pile of printed pages on top, thus eliminating the bulky paper tray. Samsung also received accolades at the 2013 International Design Excellence Awards. They took the engine out of a typical at-home printer and stuck it into a simple, innovative shell such as the clip, the origami and the mate, while helping to lower the cost.
The table printer was designed to create more space in your office or living room, and it's just a regular inkjet printer. And you can use the top to put down your cup of coffee.
The little printer hooks up wirelessly to an app on your smartphone and prints out updates from all of the sources you've been browsing, including the latest news headlines, meeting times, tweets and reminders.
The Amex digital printer comes in the form of a digital photo frame, and the images on the screen can be printed out from the back of the photo frame. And some printers work with food.
Forget your traditional toaster, this printer replaces paper with bread to produce perfectly cooked toast in a matter of seconds for all your breakfast needs. Ingenious, Virginia?
Well, maybe, but there is also the egg drawer printer. This is perfect for those who want to decorate eggs for all those special occasions and of course, Easter. More and more printer cartridges and components are being sold to customers online than ever before.
Office Depot and Office Max merged so they could compete more effectively against online website merchants. Cartridge World claims they are one of the world's largest ink container retail chains, making almost 7,000 products available online, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Staples, the largest office supply chain store with over 2,000 stores worldwide in 26 countries, is now allowing customers to print a prepaid shipping label online to get cash for their used printer cartridges. Xerox is allowing customers to use an app which checks when your printer cartridges are almost empty, prompting you to get their remanufactured cartridges online for HP, Samsung, Brother and Lexmark printers. Nine Star say their Chinese-owned and made Phantom printer online sales increased 20 times this year. And according to Fatizo, LS, an aftermarket toner cartridge company in northern China, sold $821,000 worth of supplies online in just 1 day during November.
That brings us to number 5, legal battles. 2013 was no different to previous years, and now many OEMs including Canon, Epson, HP, Lexmark, Ricoh and Xerox have won at least one legal action in recent times, and Brother filed their first suit this year.
That's right, and Canon was awarded the general exclusion order which stops aftermarket cartridges using their patented gear entry into the US market. Lexmark remained prominent in 2 key suits. One involves their long battle since 2002 with Static Control over the rights to sell aftermarket chips to remanufacture Lexmark printer cartridges. Static Control say they are confident they can win this round, alleging Lexmark used false advertising to discredit Static Control's microchips.
Lexmark is also doing battle with Impression Products in the state of Ohio.
The battle is over the rights to remanufacture and resell a cartridge in the US that was originally sold outside of the US. If Impression Products wins this case, it could become a national law, which means all rights of ownership of a product cease at the time of sale, whether products are sold inside or outside the USA. And this would make it much easier for empty or remanufactured cartridges to enter the USA for resale.
Both OEMs and the aftermarket must be rejoicing to see a growth in laser and inkjet sales in the second half of 2013.
Most market analysts, including Infotrends for TISO and International Data Corporation, are saying the numbers have not returned to the peaks experienced 4 to 5 years ago. But after 10 consecutive quarters of decline, IDCs say inkjet has grown 0.4% and laser has grown 5.9% compared to last year. Asia Pacific showed the most growth at 5.2%, followed by Europe on 3.5% and the US at 0.5%. And HP and Brother were the two printer OEMs contributing most to the growth. HP grew its global market share and has 40.7%. Canon continues to be number 2, but is largely unchanged from a year ago and has 20.4% of the global market. Epson declined during the year but held on to number 3 position with 14.2%. Brother strengthened its position as the number 4 vendor with 7.2% share. Samsung rounded out the top 5 vendors with a 4.6% share, essentially the same as a year ago. IDC expects the overall market to continue growing in single digits over the next 4 quarters.
According to the number of news stories coming through, all the efforts at stopping counterfeiting remains a huge problem across the board.
Britain's Queen Elizabeth supported her government's tough new jailing laws, and Interpol's top cop says $176 million worth of counterfeit goods were seized worldwide this year, with more than 6,000 persons being implicated for the crimes. Millions of dollars worth of fake cartridges have been seized in many countries, including the Middle East, Africa and Europe. The Imaging Suppliers Coalition of OEMs, called the ISC, continues to work hard to educate consumers across the globe, with their Executive President Alan Westerfield keynoting the International Aftermarket Conference in Zhuhai, China in October.
On June the 28th, the expected General Exclusion Order, or GEO, was signed off by the White House to protect Canon's patents in the lucrative US market.
Since that time, a number of aftermarket companies shipping products into the US have announced they have clearances by the US border authorities, and the gear couplings used in their printer cartridges do not infringe the GEO. One company, PrintRite, took the unusual but clever strategy to invite their US customers to meet with customs.
What PrintRite has gotten here is somewhat unusual. It is a very ironclad, no-risk solution. To our knowledge, PrintRite is the only one that has this level of clearance.
Printer cartridge component giant Static Control released a video featuring founder and CEO Ed Swartz saying they filed patents on their own zero-twist gear designs back in 2007 and 2011.
This brings us to the number 1 story to impact the aftermarket consumables industry in 2013. David?
Yes, Virginia. In just days before passing of the printer cartridge industry's best-known champion, Ed Swartz learned that HP had publicly recognised remanufacturing and named his company Static Control. It was something Swartz had fought for over many decades. HP spoke to remanufacturers from across the globe at the annual Zhuhai conference in China in October. They warned the aftermarket to stop confusing consumers and to use smart chips in their cartridges which correctly identify it is not an HP cartridge.
The OEMs and the aftermarket can have a discussion, that we can lay out the issues, we can go through a process of education, and that we can identify a path to where both parties can exist and compete in the marketplace and let consumers decide which products they'd like to buy.
HP provided the industry with a technical white paper making recommendations on how to avoid brand misidentification. Static Control were publicly named as being the first to comply, with many other chip manufacturers providing solutions for cartridge remanufacturers since. HP has released an update of its white paper in English as well as Chinese, and version 3 is due early in 2014.
And you can read all the breaking news at any time at irecyclingtimes.com. Those were the top stories for 2013. Thanks for joining us each week. Happy Christmas.
And we'll see you again in 2014. Have a safe and prosperous new year. Happy holidays!